Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Sulaiman Rahim here. Let's slay some demons. Sisters and brothers, battle. We must prepare for battle. The world is going to war. They laid out their battle plans, and the target is us. The target is us. Make no mistake, the target is us, the true seed of Abraham. And that's going to be clear to everyone very soon, because the war that's getting ready to take place in the Middle East is going to make everything totally clear. Your world will change. Your reality will change. Everything will change, because everything will come into focus, into perspective. It'll be crystal clear. Because for years, since the time of Elijah, they've been doing everything they can to fog, blow smoke in your face, confuse the issue. There's a 50,000-year issue. A 50,000-year issue. We've technically been at war for 50,000 years. What does the Quran call? They say, was 50,000 years is a day with Allah? I think that's what it says, something to that effect. 50,000 years. From the time we was first kicked out of our homeland, we have not returned in 50,000 years. That's why it says is that we're going to return, right, to a land that we were strangers. We've been strangers to our homeland for 50,000 years. And all the nations have betrayed us, and they're against us. And the last they want is you to return to power. We've been at war for 50,000 years. We've been at a mental war for 35,000 years. See, Dr. Shabazz started preparing us 50,000 years ago. He saw where this was going, and he started preparing us 50,000 years ago. So he went into defensive mode 50,000 years ago. So he declared war 50,000 years ago. We're defensive. He identified to us that the nations are at war with us. He began preparing. 35,000 years they went to mental war with these religions. Took us off the mathematical standard to make sure we're totally confused, to confuse the whole world. 6,000 years went to physical battle. With the making of Adam. And 400 years ago, close to 500 years ago, right, it got hot. See, it got really physical. See, they said the physical parameters 6,000 years ago, but actually get definitively physical, as it told you in the story of Joseph 500 years ago. It was finally captured. See, we was able to avoid them and evade them up until 500 years ago. See, Dr. Shabazz was wise enough to set us up where we could evade, right? Avoid them up until the last 500 years. At that point, we'll be captured by our enemies, see, betrayed by our own brothers. So I kind of like misspoke a little bit because I said when physical 6,000 years ago. No, the physical army was generated 6,000 years ago. See, and they did go to war with us 6,000 years ago, but they didn't capture us until 500 years ago. So we've been in captivity for 500 years. See, 400 years of that enslavement. The first 64 years of that he was in prison, just like the story of Joseph. First, Joseph was betrayed and he was imprisoned. And they used his wisdom, right, to save their behind. That's the story of Joseph. You wouldn't understand this if you didn't understand the angel. And then it was his children after him, his seed, his children, that was in prison, enslaved. That's totally consistent with what Rod and Elijah taught us. Not consistent with Lion Farrakhan has told you. So we've been at war, but how can you defend yourself if you don't know who your enemies are, if you don't even know you're at war? And most of our people, 99.9% of our people don't even realize they're at war. Even though they're broken as a nation, been forced into submission, beat down, raped, and they still don't realize they're at war. I mean, what does the enemy have to do to you to realize that you're at war? Most of us is going over to the enemy. And now we come into the climax. See, to the final battles. That's why it says, who will win the war of Armageddon? See, Elijah Muhammad said, who will survive? Because we had survived up to now. But at some point, it gets down to win or lose. Well, the war of Armageddon has been going on since they first imprisoned us. That was the start of the war of Armageddon. That was the actual start. The time that they first imprisoned us, that was the beginning, because they made actual direct attack on us as a nation to destroy us. That was their goal, to use us, manipulate us, suck all the blood out of us, and then dispose of us. That was their intention. It was never intended to ever come out of that situation. It was supposed to be fatal. When Joseph's brothers threw him into the well, cast him into the hands of our enemies, the first instinct was to kill us. But they decided, no, well, we'll let the Egyptians kill them. But the objective was to kill us, never to return. See, because Joseph, they realized that Joseph was going to be the ruler. He says, hey, I got a vision. All y'all gonna be bowing to me. See? It's telling you, they knew that we are the gods. We're going to return back to our throne. And they didn't want that. They thought they was inheritors. So we're going to talk about that, because that's what it's all about. We're going to talk about enemies, because how in the hell are you going to fight a battle if you, first of all, you don't even know you're at war? Second of all, you don't even know who your enemies are. We're talking about this little puny war that Farrakhan's talking about. He's talking, well, yeah, but a few minutes ago he was telling he was going to save Nineveh. He was going to repent Nineveh. Now we're at war. I mean, that boy is confused. And we'll see why in a minute. So that's what we're going to talk about. Our enemies. See? Because you don't know who your enemies are. I guarantee you, if you go out there and talk to these people out here, they do not know who their enemies are. Some of them don't. Well, it's the master. Some don't even know that. Oh man, that's in the past, man. We got to get beyond that. We got to save America. We got to whatever. But some say, yeah, it is master, right? But is that it? Yeah, but we got to be friends with the Sunnis. Or we got to be friends with the Mexicans. Or we got to be friends with whatever. See? So once you understand who your enemies are, they don't know what they're talking about either. So are you going to go into battle with someone who doesn't even know who the enemies are? You see? The angel tells you, because none of you knew who your enemies were before it was revealed to you through the angel. Now one of you, and those of you who study the angel, realize that. So let's move on to the presentation, sisters. Oh, let me back up for a minute here for a second. Make sure I don't have an issue here. Okay, it's all good. It's all good. Belief matrix. Talk about that for a minute. So our people, I said there was a mind war that the mind war started 35,000 years ago by Dr. Buddha. Three tribes, three original tribes. Tribe of Levites, tribe of Shabazz, and tribe of Hindus. Led by Dr. Buddha led the Hindu tribe, right? And then Dr. Shabazz led the tribe of Shabazz, the main tribe. See? Then you had the tribe of Levites. Tribe of Levites, they were living in what we call Africa now. The tribe of Shabazz live in what we call Arabia now. They call it Saudi Arabia, but that's another story. And what you call up in the region of India, Indo-Kush, right? That area was where the tribe of Hindus. In 35,000 years, they went on the religion, the belief matrix. No facts, no mathematics. They got off the mathematical standard. And it got so bad, it permeated all of that region, all the way into Arabia, all the way into Africa. In fact, even over to the Americas, what we call Americas now, because what we call the Native Americans, they got so deep into it that even the Hindus couldn't deal with them. So they ran the ass out of there. Ran them over here 15,000 years ago because they got really bad with it. See, that's how bad they were. But Elijah Muhammad tells us they were the original enemies. Not the Buddha, Hinduism, Buddhism. It was the first enemies of Islam because they went off the mathematical standard. See, they separate the creator from his creation. They destroy our minds. See, so that's the birth of all these religions. In fact, you can trace all the religions back to Buddhism. Hinduism, if you look up the description of Shiva and look up that description of the first person in chapter 1 of Revelation, it's very similar. 7 stars in hand, right? Risen from the dead, all that kind of stuff. But that's where all these religions came from, out of Buddhism, Hinduism, all of it. See, that was the mental enemies. See, so they said they are first enemies. Okay? But we got one that's see, it's not really recognized. Because who was it that forced us out of Asia to begin with, out of Arabia to begin with? Who forced us out? See, our brothers, those that call Arabs. See, Ishmael. See, Abraham's first son by his maid. See, we're his second son by his wife Sarah. He was not married to his maid. It was Isaac, right? You had Ishmael and Isaac. Isaac was the one that was blessed by God because he went to Sarah and she was old, elderly. Told her she can have a son because she didn't have any sons. So he went into his maid and had a son because he wanted a son, and it looked like Sarah was barren. So he said, okay. So they met with God, not spirit or spook. And he told Sarah, you're going to have a son. And she laughed. That's what Sarah means. She laughed. She laughed at God. You crazy? I'm an old lady. We got to be real. See, our people are real. See, all this spooky stuff. See, she met God. They had dinner. had dinner. And God told her, and say, you know, hey, you're going to have us. She laughs. Man, you're crazy. You know, that's our brother sitting at the table. That's God. That's our brother sitting at the table. Our big brother. We got to get all the seed. Anyway, so she did have a son, and that's the one that God blessed. That's us. But Ishmael was jealous because he says, I'm the firstborn son. Normally, the firstborn son gets the inheritance, but he was not the firstborn son by Sarah. Notice he's first the son that was specifically blessed by God himself. So he's angry. He said he should receive the inheritance, which would be Arabia and everything else. See? And that's how ultimately we got betrayed. So we get to that. See? But that occurred 50,000 years ago. See? So Buddhism is the first enemy of Islam. Why? Because Islam is mathematics, and mathematics is Islam. And Buddhism dismisses mathematics. It's called the mathematical standard. It's based on all the religions, because none of the religions is provable. None of them is based on mathematics, not one of them. And none of them can you prove. You have to believe. You have to spin reason. You can't think. You can't ask questions. There's no rationale. You can't prove any of it. That's why it says that the first enemy of Islam, because Islam is mathematics, mathematics Islam, it was first enemy to Islam. But Ishmael was the first enemy to us, specifically. So the lesson is correct. This is correct. See? So now the belief matrix, they have us all in the belief matrix. Because just about everything, your reality, your religion is your reality. So they don't call it that because they don't want to get you, wake you up. Your religion, because that's what you base your whole concept of being. You look at everything through a lens of religion. Religion is your reality, even though everything around you is mathematics. Everything around you can be proven as mathematics, everything around you. See? But your whole reality is based on your religion. See? Some mystery God, prayer, and all this stuff that you be doing. See? So that's your reality. But the real reality, that's why I call it real, is mathematics. But they have you, even though even though you look around you and everything is mathematics, your whole reality is based on something else. Doesn't that kind of throw you? Doesn't that kind of like make you think that when you look around, everything is mathematics, is real, yet your whole belief system and everything is not based on mathematics? What governs your life, what governs the way you deal with people, that's your religion. So religion is your personal reality. See, that's a created reality. See, it's not real. And you're in a belief matrix because you can't prove any of it, so you believe. That's what having a belief matrix. That's what belief matrix is. If you can't prove it, you believe it, that means you don't know if it's real or not. And that's your reality. You live in a fantasy. Illusion, I call it. It took you out of Jerusalem and put you in Illusion, a land of illusion. Because all your reality is based on illusions. You come up after dead, you come after you die, you go in some imaginary heaven, there's some imaginary God, imaginary angels, imaginary demons, imaginary death. Everything is imaginary. All the characters in the Bible are imaginary or in the past. So what are you reading the Bible for then? Why are you reading the Bible? Why are you wasting time with it? If all the main characters are invisible, illusionary, you can't see them, you can't touch them, you can't talk to them, all the main characters, right? And everybody else, right, is in the past, then what the hell does it have to do with you? I mean, how can you relate to any of that? That's what they're telling you. They deceive the whole world. But yet the scriptures are designed specifically to guide you through the period of time they was revealed for. The scripture we have right now is to guide you through the time right now that we're living in. That means they apply to now, not in the past. That's why Eli's mama tells they write history every 25,000 years. They pass it out through the time that's relevant. You even have people with claiming they were Elijah Muhammad. They don't want to script, it messes with black men, all kind of stuff. Time moves on. You have scriptures that apply. If this is a time of unprecedented trouble, you must have unprecedented scripture to deal with it. Otherwise, God has failed us. Why even give it? Why even get a weather forecast, right? That's of no value. We don't need yesterday's forecast. We don't need next year's forecast. We need the forecast that applies to right now so we can deal with it. Oh man, a year ago, man, it was really bad, man. The weather was 10 degrees, man. People that was a year ago. What the hell? You understand? Oh man, 2 years from now, man, it's gonna be a real bad winter. It's gonna be cold. Well, that might have some, I mean, has some benefit. But you say, well, 2 years, it could be like that. Then maybe I start making some preparations now. But it's still like irrelevant for now, isn't it? Think about that. They have our people in the belief matrix. It's a belief matrix that they started 35,000 years ago. Dr. Buddha is doing exactly what it's planned to do, to keep you confused. So when the final battle comes, you'll be so confused, you'll be so disorientated that it's easy to wipe you out. Because it tells you in scripture, let us destroy them as a nation so they remember no more. Who? Talking about us. Okay, let's move on, brothers and sisters. Now, if you go to war, you have to have a weapon. You have to be able to defend yourself. You have to know how to prepare for war. You know, and that's what the 5 pillars of Islam is, the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam. Now I'm going to detail that. I'm going to put another presentation dealing specifically with that. But we're at war, and you need to start putting on your uniform. See, the angel is your primary weapon. But you need to put on your uniform. See, your bulletproof vest, your helmet, all the things you need to protect yourself. And that's what it is in the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam. See, the Sunnis don't know this as the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam. They don't know it that way. It's just 5 pillars of Islam, and they got some kind of ideas about it. They don't understand what it means from a mathematical point of view. But we understand that, right? If they're the pillars of Islam, I mean, what Islam rests on. Pillars are something that you rest on, right? You put a roof on top of pillars. I'm talking about pillow you sleep on. Pillars, P-I-L-L-A-R-S, pillars, right? You put something on it to rest on it, right? So the Islam is rest on that. That means Islam must be mathematics. If Islam is mathematics, then what the pillars that it rests on must be mathematics also. They won't tell you that way because they won't even tell you Islam is mathematics. Islam is just Islam. I don't know, whatever. So we're going to go through quickly. Consequence. That's the first one. Because they say, believe, have faith in God. See, they tell you that, but that doesn't make any sense. Because, why not have faith in Buddha? Why have faith in Shiva or whatever? Faith in God to do what? That's the point. What you have faith in God, you just have faith in God to do what? What's the point? Well, I believe in God. Okay, you believe in God. Okay, then what? What God you believe in? Why? See, all questions come up. In faith in God, do what? Consequence. To be just. To reward you for whatever you do. Because that's why you have faith. That's why you believe in Islam. Because you can be rewarded for doing certain things, right? There will be consequence if anybody does anything to you. The consequence of your actions. See? Now, most Sunnis believe at least that much. But at least for consequence. See, the Christians, they'll totally, consequence of anything. You understand? That's what I'm saying. So that's the first one, because everything based on that, because consequence is every action has an opposite reaction, and that's the most fundamental principle in the universe, and all the other pillars rest on that fact. So then you got the other 4. Okay. We're talking about prayer. See, the Quran tells you that reciting the Quran is prayer. So reciting the Quran is what? See, now if you're going to battle, you need to do these things. Otherwise, you're going to battle without your battle gear and without your protection, and you can't come out. Hey man, I got hurt. Did you have your bulletproof vest on? No. Well, what you come here and tell me for? See, torque. Anything that spins produces torque. Torque's an uprighting force. Anybody that ever play spin tops, things like that, I know they don't do it nowadays. They got the videos and stuff, but they know the harder, the faster spun, the top got more upright. That's like a gyroscope. The more it spins, the more upright it comes. They use gyroscopes to guide missiles and things because it keeps staying on track. Because the more it spins, because it builds torque. They use the torque effect. So anything circulates produces torque. Torque's uprighting force, right? And it makes firm because the more upright it becomes, the more firm it comes. And that's what prayer is supposed to do. Reciting the Quran, the more you recite it, right? Because when you recite it, the voice and the heart are connected. Because whatever's in your heart is going to reflect in your voice. Whatever's in your voice is going to reflect in your heart. If you're nervous, it's going to reflect in your voice. If your heart is nervous, it's going to reflect in your voice. They're connected. See? So the thing is that the Quran came from the Supreme Being who has the firmest of hearts. We expect, right? That's what we're told. So if his voice would be very firm, since it's coming from a firm heart. So when you recite what he says, you can calculate, you reverse that process, you can calculate his firmness into your heart. So you recite it and you firm into your heart. See? So the more you recite, the firmer your heart becomes. But the firmer your heart becomes, the better your circulatory system becomes. That means your circulatory, spinning. That means you produce an upright force. It means you become a more upright person. You become more upright. And you become more firm. That's what that one does for you. See? Make you firm. Because Quran tells you, in battle, the more firm you are, the more victorious you be, and the more enemy you can slaughter. It says you can slaughter 10 times an enemy. If you're firm, 10 times your number. Even more if you're firm. But if you're afraid and nervous, see, this technique right here does everything, I'm not going into details, that Scientology claims to do. See, so we ain't go there. See, because Islam is self-sufficient. It's not missing the point. Oh, well, Allah forgot about Scientology and wait till Hubbard come along, L. Hubbard come along and fill the missing piece. Come on. Then you got charity. That's another. Because remember, torque is a force. It's a spinning force. Remember, everything comes from consequence. Consequence, every action has an opposite equal reaction, which is force. It's fundamental form. So torque is spinning force. Because your heart, right? Heart is the engine of your body. It's a circulatory. It controls the circulatory system. And everything that spins produces torque, uprighting force. Current, same thing. You got a differential, force differential. That's what current is. If one force is greater on one side or the other, then you got a flow, you got a current. You got a current. It's a force differential. If on one side of the house, the pressure is lower, then on the other side of the house, you open the windows, you're going to get a current flowing through. A breeze. See? That's a current. And how does that apply? Because the thing is that in the society, the pressure is equal everywhere. Right? But what happens is you take, and now you got so much resources, it has to balance. So the balance is 1,000 for everybody, and the balance is 1,000 for everybody, and you got 10,000, then you got 9,000 units of negative energy on you. That means everybody's pushing against you. You see? You have to understand how pressure works. So that's why you have revolutions where the poor end up taking over the rich, because they don't understand the principle. See? Because eventually the poor gets enough strength, and the rich has such much negative energy that the poor overtakes them and takes everything they got. They balance everything out. It's a correcting effect. That's what revolutions are. They're correcting effect. See, to get that balance straight. That's what's going on behind the scenes. So what happens when you give a charity, then you're correcting yourself, because you're giving those who have are giving those who have less. See? So now you even out that current. So they don't be taking your head and tearing you apart, because you got all this negative energy now, and they have, right, and they don't have. So in the balance is you create a current. So you alleviate that current, then you voluntarily give away, right, to alleviate that current. That's what charity is all about. See, and if you give away more, say if the balance is 1,000, and you give away more, so all you have is 500 left. Now you created 500 units of positive energy, which come to you all kinds of ways. Come to you as healing, comes to you all kinds, a better friend, a better mate, or whatever, better children. It's going to come to you for 500 worth. You're going to get 500 worth blessings. Whatever those blessings are, it's going to be worth 500 to balance you out. So I'm just giving you a brief understanding of these things. That's two. That's a force differential, pressure differential. See, we're still talking mathematics. Then you go to the other one, fasting. What's fasting? Fasting is about food and energy, matter, energy, matter, acceleration. Acceleration is energy. Mass times acceleration is force. Then I'm talking about force. So that means the more you eat, right? If the force, like I said, the force is 12 for everybody. The force is 12 for everybody, right? So if your mass is 12, your acceleration will only be 1, because 1 times 12 equals 12. But if your mass is 6, then your acceleration will be 2, because 2 times 6 is 12. If your mass is 4, then your acceleration will be 3, so 3 times 4 is 12. So the point is, the more food you take, the less energy you're going to have. That's fasting. So less food you eat, right? Say, well, you don't eat anything. Well, I mean, that's 0, then ain't it? You got to eat something. See, 0 times energy, that means 0. So it doesn't say you don't eat anything. It just say you maximize it. So you maximize your fasting, right? You say, okay, if you eating, if it's 300, if it's 1,000, if it's 100 calories, right? You eat 300 calories a day, for instance, 300 calories a day. So 100 in the morning, 100 in the afternoon, 100 in the evening. That's 300 calories a day. See? But you're constantly eating, so it's messing you up because you're constantly keeping your digestive system going, which is going to burn your body. You actually literally burn your body. Animals that eat constantly like that, they don't live very long because they constantly, they don't get a body chance to heal anything. So why, if you eat 300 calories a day, why not just eat 300 calories one time instead of 100 calories in the morning, 1 in the afternoon? Why not just eat 300 calories one time a day? Or why not just eat 900 calories once every 3 days? See? So now, because those days you're not eating right, you increase your energy. But you got to get used to it. Your body's used to it because you got your body trained to do a certain thing. But that's how you maximize your energy. That's what fast is all about. Mass times acceleration. Mass times food times energy. See? And then the last one, Hajj. Same thing. You put pressure on something. You see the Hajj over there, right? You put pressure on something, enough pressure on it, right? When you put, because pressure means the molecules or atoms are banging each other. They bang each other. It's like if you're in the street and all the cars are crashing at an intersection, it's pressure because everything is colliding. But if you get them to go in an orderly way, right, there's nobody crashing anymore because everybody's in sync with the lights and everything. So there's no crashing. Well, that's harmony. So you go from pressure to harmony. So you put enough pressure on something, it goes to harmony. So that's what Hajj is. So you see everybody's going, and all ethnic groups and everything else, but they're going around in a circle, no collision or anything. But you got all kinds of people and everything. Again, that's the mathematical of Islam. So what does that mean? So we talk about what is other. Well, that means, right, when you're out there and you talking, you learn the angel, you talking the angel, and you getting people to start, because everybody's wheels are turning all different directions, so it's colliding. See, our minds are colliding with master's minds, and because most of us have master's mind, then we're colliding with ourselves. So when you go out there and you get a brother or sister's mind turning in the right direction, then you're moving in the direction of harmony. Eventually, you have everybody's going to harmony, unity. We're going to be a nation again. That's what Hajj is. Right now, Hajj is what we need more than anything. There's beautiful names right now, because names right now, right? It's two names right now right? They're the most powerful names in the universe. Two attributes of Allah is the most powerful right now. Consequence, because the God of consequence on the scene. The God of consequence on the scene. And what's the purpose? To bring about Hajj, harmony, unity, all mathematics. Okay, bro, since you're going to battle, you better be ready. You better start putting on your battle gear, putting your battle uniform. That's what it's all about. Okay, let's move on. Okay, our enemies. Now, this is the period of Gog and Magog. You talk about chapter 20, talk about an angel. It says they were locked up. Right? Now, Quran, he locked them up. See? It says they would be let loose. And they'll go and cover the whole planet. It says both in chapter 20 also. In Revelations, or angel. And so we're in the time of Gog and Magog. That's the last iteration of Adam. See, Adam started at 6,000 years ago, and his descendants, they still call him, they're still Adam. But this last one, the Quran speaks specifically, said, let us make, right? We're gonna make a new ruler in the earth. Who's ruling the earth right now? They are. They've been ruling for the last 500 years. See? That's the Adam they're talking about. Then Eve came along 500 years later. See, that's the one talking about in Genesis. First came Adam. He was put in a great sleep, deep sleep. He came along 2,000 years ago. See, it was Prophet Jesus that raised Adam. Prophet Jesus 2,000 years ago, he raised Adam. He began Adam's raise. It took 500 years for Adam to, become raised, but he started he started getting breath because it was a sealed Bible that gave breath to Adam. Started his beginning. It took 500 years to complete his formation. Then he was put in deep sleep. So after 500 years, Prophet Muhammad came along and locked him up. That was the Dajjal. Locked him up for 1,000 years. That was Adam put in a deep sleep. See, after 1,000 years came out, then there was Eve. That's America, 500 years ago. See, that's Eve. And then the court was separated. That means that's the American Revolution, and they became separate from Britain, even though they're still husband and wife. See, that's the story there, bro. Says I'm not going a lot of detail, but that's Gog and Magog. It's the time of Gog and Magog. And he had one murderous son, right? That was going to rule it all. That was Cain. Who did Jesus tell you Cain was? He said, your father's the devil. Cain is Satan. See? So we got God, Magog, and Satan. See? That's false Israel. See? And we're not going into all the details about that, but that's who it's talking about there. See? False Israel, Gog and Magog, America and Britain. Magog, Britain, Gog, America, or Eve, right? Magog means the mother of Gog. You have no enemies, brothers and sisters. You know, I can get this from Lions, Silas, but they don't know, have no idea who these people are. They couldn't tell you who Gog and Magog saved their life unless they watch this. See? They have some idea who Satan is, but Elijah Muhammad told me, he act like he's throwing out Satan. Elijah Muhammad exposed Satan a long time ago. Anyway, so there you go, Gog and Magog. So we're going to explain your enemies to you because we're going to war. So we're going to tell you what you need to prepare, how to prepare. But like I said, I show you how to get your armor and everything, your battle gear. But your sword is the angel. Your sword is the angel. They can't stop it. It's sharper. It says what? He would destroy him with the sword, the two-edged sword that came out of his mouth. See, because knowledge, see, thought is the most powerful force in the universe. It's pressure, most powerful. See, and when you got, but it's only as powerful, right, as your ability, how powerful your thought process is, if you think at all. Because Christians and all these religious people, they don't think. Their thinking is very limited to the fact, point is, because they don't think about reality, because they it doesn't, thinking is not required. In fact, it's discouraged. There's no, how are you going to think? There's nothing to think about. I mean, Christianity, Hinduism, Sunnism, thought do not apply. Because just believe. Suspend thought. See, so let's move on. But the thing is that they have to keep you from thinking. They have to do that, and most of us are willing. Most of us on board with that. Okay. So here we got. That's their vision. See, we got to understand what's this war about. See, we know it's a war. We're going to tell you who the players are, who your enemies are, who you are, what you need to do to prepare for it, what your weapons are, but you knew what's the purpose of this war to begin with. I mean, how you know when you won? See, what's driving it? What's driving is two different visions. There's two different visions there. See, we got the biological. That's what the way the universe came to existence. We brought into existence. We built a biological universe. See, but Dr. Yakub came along, right? See, when this actually started with Dr. Buddha, with taking you off the mathematical standard, but Dr. Yakub come along, and he is analytical. It really took focus because now you got separation between the analytical and the spatial minds. You got two minds that is battling each other. See, both of them came from us. Both are gods because we have the analytical side of the brain and the spatial side of the brain. And so that's what Dr. Shabazz, he brought out the spatial. He made a whole nation that's primarily spatial. That's what he emphasized the dominant beings, which is the spatial side of the brain. Dr. Yakub did the opposite. He emphasized this recessive, which is analytical. So now we got two nations where used to be, like was ambidextrous, so to speak, right? Where, we was one nation because they came from us, just like once we were hermaphrodite, if you will, was male, we was neither male, there was no gender, there was neither male nor female, and we separate ourselves into genders. And the same thing we've done here. We separate ourselves into the analytical and the spatial. Which we did. See? And so now that we've done that, right? Because the analytical is rebellious by nature. It's evil by nature. What do I mean by that? It's evil by nature because we live in a spatial universe. Analytical mind does not understand it. So it hurts it because every time it does something, it messes up because it doesn't understand. It's like, you got a Lamborghini and you in there with a pair of screwdrivers, you have no idea what you're doing. You're going to tear things up because, you can't go in and you better know what you're doing. You get in there. So the thing is they got control of the planet, but they don't understand its creation. And that's why the Quran tells you the land is corrupt because their hands, because they understand it. So it's like pickup sticks, they pull the wrong thing, the thing fall apart. That's why they destroy it. It says that the whole thing is being corrupt because of them, because they don't understand it. So they're evil by nature because in relation to our universe, our reality. They don't understand it. So they're polluting it. All this manufacturing they're doing here. I mean, this is our home. No matter, you should be doing any manufacturing here. We did our manufacturing off planet. So this is polluting the air. What if they started doing 6,000 years ago? If they had this knowledge 6,000 years ago and was doing it for 6,000 years, we wouldn't be able to breathe at all here. The whole landscape would be a desert or worse. See, because they don't understand it. So the only way they can survive is they have to bring in a mechanical reality. They can't change the universe. They can't even get out there. But they have to on Earth, on the planet, on the planet. See, that's why he shows computers and all that stuff, because they understand that kind of stuff. That's analytical stuff. See, so they bring it, and the ultimate game is, you see a cyborg here. That's a cyborg. It's not a robot. A robot is totally mechanical. A cyborg is a human brain inside of a mechanical body, which technically can live as long as you want to live. See, because the brain doesn't die like the rest of the body. It's the weak body that brings down the brain. See, so They got a brain. If they can protect the brain, then the body is immune to all this environment. Rain, bad egg air, and everything else. Immune to it. Immune to viruses, say COVID, it's immune to all that stuff. And it can live virtually as long as it want to, because the part goes bad, just replace it. And they don't need us anymore, because we're the creative side. And they've been living off us for 500 years. We're the gold and silver that is talking about they will, when we leave, they'll be broken. Because they're gold. That's why they've been keeping us here. We're the gold and silver. And I tell you about Joseph, he used it for 64 years. He saved America. He saved the country because they was about to, the country is about to go down. And it said Joseph, right? They had to use his wisdom. He told them what to do to save the country. You understand all that stuff, brothers and sisters, because they hiding that from you. Just like you heard about 64 years until Elijah Muhammad explained it to you. That was the time of Joseph, and it tells you that in the scripture. If Muhammad didn't tell you that, and before it ended, you wouldn't know. See, so that's their vision. But you're not in that vision. You're not in that vision. Because if they get to that, where they're close to it now, they get to that, right? You're not going to get in there. Can you afford a Lamborghini? Can you afford one? Because that body will cost you much more than a Lamborghini. And the only way you're going to survive in this environment that they're polluting, they're destroying, is you're going to have that body. So you can't afford it, then you can walk around your biological body that's exposed to all kinds of environmental problems, all kinds of medical problems, all kinds of health, environmental problems, whatever. See? And you think they're going to waste time fixing you up? It's a zero-sum game, brothers and sisters. Their vision, you don't exist in it. You're through. In our vision, they don't exist. Zero-sum game. We're at war, brothers and sisters. And now we get down to the final battles. See? Okay. So let's line up the demons. We're going to specify who the demons are. See, the angel explains who the, see, you didn't know who these demons were because you didn't know who the enemies were. So we're going to start talking about the enemies. We're going to outline the enemies. We're going to start with the demons. See? So just think about that for a minute, right? See? And let's take a short break. Minute, right back. Okay, brothers and sisters, demons. Now, you didn't know who demons were before. You know who they were. See, these things here. I'll say this, okay. You know what demons were. So there's some invisible things running around. They make movies about them and stuff, you know. Citizens of hell, invisible, you know, they are companions of devils or they're companions of Satan or whatever. But no, angel explains who the demons are. First of all, the word demon is half devil, D-E, half man. Same way Son of Man came from. Son of Man is just Suleiman. Soul is Latin. Soul, son, O, man. That's where it comes from. Don't come from the son of a man. See? So, we forgive Elijah because, he said he got lessons nearly correct. But we don't take anything from him. He had to do what he had to do. He did it. See? And I love him for everything he did. But anyway, that's where it comes from. Now, that means that means they're a product of rape. See? By the devils. See, that's Caucasian. That's Jacob's grafted devils. He grafted 6,000 years ago. Right? They raped our women for 400, 500 years. At least 400 years exactly. 400 years, they raped our women and they produce, remember, because the man carries the seed. So that means that's their children, not ours. See? There's black-faced devils, but they're their children. They think and act just like their daddies do. See, that's mathematics, that's science. Forget about what's get crappy like fire constant about when rum dropped with black blood makes you black. It does make you black, but black is a generic term. That means you just got dark skin. That doesn't mean you're original. Just like Farad, he's got white skin, but he is original because his father was original. You are whatever your father is. Now that's a simple mathematical fact, but they're trying to erase that now. Forget about the mathematics of that. See, that's where religion comes in. Like right now, they're erasing even sex. You don't even know what sex you are. You whatever you think you are, no matter what your biologic tells you. That's part of this process to confuse you. See? So just because a person got dark skin, that don't mean they're you. Well, they were their father. So that's part of the problem that they was using that to deceive us. This is part of the plan. See, in Australia, they actually said it. They was going to breed the Aborigine out of the Aboriginals. Yeah, they would rape the women and they'd take the children and try to raise the children. They was going to get rid of all their Aborigines, right? They're going to breed out of them. See? And the same thing was going to happen here because they knew they could not keep us in submission because we got a totally different nature. If you take and put a lion and a tiger in a cage and you force them, you can train them and make it go against their nature, but it's only going to last as long as you keep putting the force on. Once you back up, they're going to revert back to their nature. So they know they eventually have to either get rid of us altogether, right? Or keep the pressure on, and that's going to take a lot of, you see right now they're going bankrupt trying to keep us down because they made China rich because they was trying to keep us from getting those jobs. So they sent us over there. Now China's rich and powerful because of it. See, same thing in India. They sent all the technical jobs over there. All the industrial jobs went to China. And now they're giving all that culture jobs south of the border. They make these countries rich, trying to keep you down. And it's costing them. They become poor and poor because it takes force and pressure to keep us under control. So the other way is they still want some of our creativity. They figure, well, if we have some of it, so they breed us out. They just have, right? They have black people, but it won't be original black people, but they still be distinct from them, so they can still use them like they've been used. But those hearts won't be against them, see? They're just saying, they're upset because Master ain't treating them right, like the so-called civil rights movement. They didn't want to be away from Master. They want to stay with Master. They just want Master to recognize them. Master, I'm your son, I'm your daughter. Come on, Master, I'm your son and daughter. They want to be recognized. They don't want to leave. They want to be good Americans. They do everything they can to prove Master that they should be accepted as their children. They love Master. Martin Luther King, they love Master because that's their daddies. We see what the demons, remember, read Mark. The demon, that's the first thing. When met Legion was a chief demon. Because that's what Jesus posed. His first task is to cast out demons. And he ran to the Legion, Louis Eugene Grounds of the NOI backwards. You can't make this up. That's who Louis Farrakhan is. Louis Eugene Ground, NOI backwards, right? First thing he said, please don't make me leave the country. They want to stay here. That's what demons are. They're not invisible. They're invisible if you don't know. That's how they go invisible. You know who they are. And they're all around you. See? And they taking you down because they look like you, walk like you, talk to you, so you accept them. Only time they come around is when they need your votes to give them power or whatever, or get your money, or sell you some sneakers, somebody $1,000, whatever. That's the only time they come around. But where they live, they go back with massa. Who they marry? They marry up massa. They don't be bothered with you because they ain't you. They don't want to be. They think you stupid. Something wrong with you. How come? And they get mad because they think you the reason why massa not accepting them. If they got rid of those niggas, boy, maybe massa love us because those ones that's making causing the problem. So now you know who the demons are. Son of perdition, that's Farrakhan. He's the chief demon. His father's the devil. He tries to deny it now. His father's the devil. He's the chief demon. He's the one left behind after Elijah left. And he have us wandering around the wilderness for 42 years, causing all kinds of trouble and mischief. Guys, all his people's fathers destroyed. That's the son of perdition. The falling away first says, be not deceived. The falling away would come first. Right? And then the man of perdition. So what was the falling away? When Elijah Muhammad left, they tore the nation down. There was no one to lead it. Right? So he said, well no, Wash wasn't leading the nation of Islam. He started his own thing. So the whole thing fell. That's the falling away. Right? And then he comes back 2 years later and said he's the son of perdition. So he would run for 42 years. Okay, so your brain is up. Okay, we're going to move along because we got quite a bit here to talk about. I don't want to be here all day. Right? I mean, I don't mind talking to you, brothers and sisters. Right? But, maybe another day, we talk about demons. Remember, demons are the product of rape, 20 years of rape. Adam and Eve, we talk about Gog and Magog. Well, Gog and Magog, that's American Britain. Britain is Magog, the mother. It says they was made from the dust of the earth. That means from the earth represents European countries. Britain is not a European country. It's islands. That's called the British Islands. It's islands off the coast of Britain, and it's populated by people that was exiles, right? Refugees, right? Criminals, right? People that was banned out of Europe. That's what it means. The dust of the earth. It was just a dust. It was crap. I mean, it was whatever vagabonds, whatever immigrants pushed out of Europe. And a lot of them ran from there because of the pressure of the Catholic Church. Because Britain was one of the first countries that just broke away from the Catholic Church altogether. They went on, they took sealed book Christianity from the Pope, and they put some math. They started putting mathematics, mix it with mathematics, and now that's what it means. They became the new rulers in earth because that mathematics what gave them power to rule. The Catholic Church didn't do it. Christianity didn't do it. The cross didn't do it. It's the mathematics. When they had the Renaissance 500 years later, you see, after Dark Ages, 1,000 years later, after Dark Ages, right, came the Renaissance. That was it called so-called Age of Enlightenment. The mathematics is weak, but strong enough because it's stronger than anybody else's math. If your math is greater than everybody else's math, then you're the ruler. See? So that's what came along. Newton and all those guys came along. And so they mixed it with this mathematical Christianity, if you will. And now they're ruling the world with it. That's Gog and Magog. See? Right now, Gog is being run by a senile man. That shows you the state they're in. Because the country is going down. It's going down this year, 2021. I could talk about pressure and explain that, but that's not what we're here for. So now you know who the other enemies are. Now they're the ones that brought us over here. Garden of Eden, we the tree of gods and good and evil. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. They brought us over here, and we're their wealth. We represent, and those who understand the angel, we represent the gold, and the Levites, right? That came over with us, they represent the silver, and they've been using our creativity, right, and our other resources to make them rich. And if we leave, right, the whole economy collapses. See? But they don't want. They said they don't want us to leave because we might join with the enemy. So they're the conundrum, right? But they know it's better for them if we be eliminated than let us leave. Because we leave and we take our power back, we know they're going to be our first target. See? Or after all they've done. So now we know these two enemies. Then we got false Israel. What was they set up for? The whole purpose for their existence, whole purpose of their existence, because they want to prove that we're not two-seed Abraham. When Elijah Muhammad came talking, he shook the nations up, he shook America specifically, that we're true-seed Abraham, and it was a factor, 400 years, all of us right there. Could have that, because if we're the true-seed Abraham, who are they? So they had to come with counter to that. They couldn't have that people believing that we're the true-seed Abraham, they were oppressing us, and they were evil and all that kind of stuff. So they had to come with because they was hating the so-called Jews back in the 50s and the 40s. They was putting them in smokestacks over in Germany, burning them up, and nobody cared. America would help them. They wouldn't leave them come into the country, and say you send them back to their deaths. And even during the war, they knew where the concentration camps where they was burning them up, and they didn't those concentration camps never was targeted, never was bombed anything, because everybody wanted to get rid of them. See, but then suddenly, people they hated for 1,000 years hated. Literally hated severely. Not never much they hated us, but they hated them. Suddenly, overnight, their ass become honeypots, and everybody's eating the honey. Why? Because all of a sudden they got to set them up, and now they got to be the kind of narrative. They got to be true to Abraham. So because they can have us thinking like that. Because we start thinking like that, that means trouble for them. Because we unite, our unity is their destruction. They know that. So there you go. That's where it's set up. But see, the problem they have now is they're the other enemy. Because remember, their identity theft, they pretend they're us. It said, those who bless Israel, God will bless. Those who hate Israel, God. So all the blessing, military, financial, and everything that they're getting should have went to us. But since they're saying they're the seed of Abraham, then everybody's doing it to them. We got to help Israel, because God said, if you help Israel, we're going to help you. You're going to be blessed the more you do it. See? So they steal now wealth, they steal identity, they steal now creativity, they steal everything, right? See? For our destruction. Not only that, but they financed the whole slave trade anyway. They financed it. See, that's why Angel says, you don't know the depths of Satan. And now they're ruling all the nations now, because they're ruling America and Britain, and by vicariously, they ruling everybody. So I hope you understand, but we're just trying to get you familiar with who your enemies are. Because we at war, so you know who you're up against. Oh, boy. See? Now listen. Now Farrakhan wants to bring our enemies to the NOI. We'll bring devils to the NOI. No? So you got to see him. See? So, does he know who our enemies are? Because he wouldn't tell you that they're enemies, because he wants you to go and pray in their mouths. He wants to hang around with them. See? So who are they? As far as he's concerned, they're salt of the earth, and we should emulate them. See? But they're the jinn. See, you didn't know who the jinn was before. Ask any of them who the jinn is. They can't tell you. You can't see them. See, there you go back to invisible stuff again. They ain't know who God and Magog is. Here's who God and Magog is. They can't tell who God and Magog is. There's somebody's going to come along in the future. See? Who's the jinn? The jinn says, I'm not going to submit to Adam. So once you know who Adam is, you should know who the jinn is. Because what nation will not submit to the reality of Adam? The Sunnis. See? They're not producing anything. They're not buying any of this technology, anything. They use it, but they're not buying and producing any of it. They have no manufacturing, anything. And they resist, and they all this jihad, all the stuff they be doing. The only nation that does that, although nations embrace Adam to some extent, they reject Adam. They use Adam for protection. Hey, man, you help us. They buy their weapons and things. They're not producing anything. See, they're the ones who refuse. They tell what angels do. Jinn, they're not the angels. Well, jinn are angels, because it says the command went to the angels. So how in the hell are you going to blame jinn for doing something that they weren't commanded to do? So they have to be angels. That means angels are men, if you understand who the jinn are. See, and that's who it is. House of Sod are the jinn. They're also the dragon. See, not going into detail like that, they're also the dragon. See, 7 heads, 10 horns. There was 3. The dragon has 7 heads, 10 horns. but his crowns on his heads. Then another beast has 7 heads, 10 horns, but his crowns on his horns. That's giant India. That's the crowns because it's shifting power. So, then you got another one that has 7 heads, 10 horns, but has no crowns at all. He belongs side. That's non-Islamic Africa. We're not going to talk about that right now. But that's another. And what's going on with them? What's going on here? So we talk about what Satan has done and doing with jinn. They kicked us out of our home 50,000 years ago. That's the Arabs. Kicked us out 50,000 years ago. And now they control it. And they're not going to give it back up. They don't want us over there, and it says it belongs to them, and they're not going to give it back up. So we got to be at war with them also. We're at war because they're doing everything they can to get us to stop thinking we see Abraham. They come up here, no, you. They support all kinds of the Sunni mosques and everything, try to get you going into it, try to get you worshiping. He got Farrakhan having his so-called followers worshiping at the Sunni mosque, the same place that they call your God a fraud, right? And you're messing, you're a liar, but you sitting praying with them. Are you praying with God you're praying to, Farah? Because you can't tell them that that's who you're praying to there. So you're praying to the mystery God? What are you doing? See, they're your enemy. The last thing they want you is coming back there telling you want that land. And then we're going back, and we're going to have to fight them tooth and nail, right? That's what it says. We go back. It says Joshua had to lead an army. See? So we're going to take it back. After 3,000 years, we come and take it back. That's Ishmael. It tells you there that Ishmael was part of the plan to get rid of us. All the nations was involved in every one of them. Because now they see the hand of God out there. And see it's time for us to resurrect and do everything that's going to stop it. That's what jinn is. That's also a dragon. Okay? And then, what's this? Death and Hades. That's the Daniel's leopard, yellow and brown spots. That's also 10 horns. And the angel, Oriental and Asian, India. That's 2. They want you dead too. They think they should inherit everything. See? They become more and more powerful. Because the expectation is they're going to, China already says by 2025, they plan to be the most powerful country on earth. Power's taking over. See? They're going to be at war soon. See? But death and Hades, they want to get rid of us too. Because they don't want us to rise up and take power. So they be out there to snuff us out before we get started. That's part of the reason why they're doing a lot of things they're doing. That's who death and Hades is. They say, oh, death is. No, that's death. Because the last thing Suleiman would do, he would defeat death. They think, oh, your people will die. No. That's that last war, the Oriental countries. That's going to be a great battle. After all other battles we go through, because we got to battle our way back to take our land back. Got to do that. The whole world will be in a surge of fighting. The whole world. Go be fighting. But we'll be safe and secure. Farah is going to make sure we're safe and secure in Arabia. And after a period of time, all the nations are going to settle down because it says Africa is going to emerge as the most powerful. See? And when it happens, they're all going to be together. And they're going to attack America. But where their goals is get us. When they attack America, but we're going to be gone. So that's death and Hades. The Hades will follow with death. America thinks India is their ally. All these people hate America, but they don't want to sanction everything, so they pretend they do. But when that war happens in the Middle East, America soundly defeated, definitively defeated. And Britain also defeated. And they come and attack us. And then you have, they come and attack us. Excuse me. Get my throat here. I was saying, when they, so let me back up here. First of all, when the war happens, right, so they're going to be soundly defeated. America, Britain, and France will be soundly defeated. False Israel was there to prove that they were the seed of Abraham. Now they're gone because the prophecy says once you reestablish back, you'll be there forever. But now they're gone, so it proves they're not the true seed of Abraham, and that means it's clear that we are. And nobody wants that. See? So that's when they will attack us for all kinds of reasons I'm not going to talk about right now, but we're going to be attacked by America and Britain. See, America over here, the blacks over there, and the blacks over here. Be attacked by America, blacks over here, Britain, be attacked by Britain. But primarily, we're going to be attacked over here. All blacks, not just original, but the demons also. Okay. But at this time, America, remember, false it was gone, so that leads to that, because now everybody wants to get at us. Everyone wants to get at us. Understand? So, now America is revealed as a paper tiger because they don't have any powers. They're bluffing. So then they get into it with Europe. They get into it with Asia, China, and North Korea. Right immediately. See? But then they have to get rid of us because that gets into the draft, all that kind of things. Because they're in the war with this kind, it says Death Hayes can raise 20 million man army. They don't have to do a draft. So I'm going to go over the details here, which means they have to draft just about everybody in the United States. And blacks ain't going to be down with that. So that's going to cause a problem too. Anyway, so, but these other nations, they're coming after us. They come after America, but they also come after us. But we won't be there. See? But they want to get at us too. See, so because America's still showing some protection, because they quite ready to just give us up. They get rid of us. I mean, they're attacking us, but they ain't quite ready to totally give us up. That's why it says is that the beast, the dragon, and the serpent, they shut wide their mouth in chapter 12 to destroy the women. But Earth represents European countries. They help the women. They ain't quite ready to kill her yet, but they're attacking. So now America's this total war now. America's at war in the Middle East. Now in the Middle East, they're thrown out of the Middle East, right? And they're at war with Europe, they're at war with Asia. By them being at war, right? That means they're kind of so crippled, they're distracted. So that's how China and India becomes a world power. That's why there's a shift from the horns, from the crowns being on the horns, on the heads of the dragon, to the horns of the beast. Big power shift. So now there's superpowers. See? And they're coming. See, because they see America's foot is slipped. It's bound to war that, if you go and study Vietnam and Korea, the reason why I lost those wars, not because of Quran, not because of Vietnam, not because of Korea, because the Chinese came across the border and helped. They don't want to fight China, but that's what's happening. So now China and India will make that move because everybody hates America. They only pretend they like them because they don't want America on their back. So now they make that move. They see America's distracted, bogged down over in Europe. That's when they're going to attack. See? And they're going to come after anything here. They ain't going to say, well, you black. No, they specifically want to get rid of black folks. So now we know that's all the enemies. And they already stated purpose is, China's stated purpose is to be the world power by 2025, the most powerful country on the planet. Now we're talking about Lucifer. See, they think Lucifer and Satan the same thing. No. See? Lucifer is the incarnation of Yaqub. See? Great descendant. See? Because Dr. Yaqub, right, he came out of Levites. Came out of Levites. Now Dr. Shabazz came out of Levites. The Levites are the Africans. And that's where Barack Obama came from. He didn't come out of us. He came out of the Levites. He came out of Africa. His mother, father was African, who married his mother, or didn't marry his mother, had a child by his mom. I don't think they were married. See, he's the one riding on the white horse in the seals, the first seal. Went for conquering the conquer. So his first conquest is President of America. Second conquest would be the leader of non-Islamic Africa when this war starts. Africa's going to break up into two parts. He's going to be leading part of it. He's going to be the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns with no crowns upon either. But he's going to be alongside the beast that has 7 heads and 10 horns and crowns upon his horns, China and India. So they're going to be together when they attack America. Went for conquering the conquer. See enemies? When he attacked, he's coming to get you too. He doesn't care anything about you. When he was president, did he do anything for you? Show me anything he did. One thing, anything? So he's coming for you too. Because he feels, remember, Lucifer thought he should be the one. See, because it was Michael that was favored, because both were archangels. Michael was favored. But Lucifer said, oh, I should be the one. So I would set my throne in the far north. What does that mean, far north? It's America, from that area in the world. That's what he did. So he became a president there. See? That's Lucifer. He's not Satan. See? He's your enemy. Because he come to get rid of you. Because he's the one you're going to final battle with. Because I said when death comes to the final battle, he's going to be leading that army. The 20 million man army. See? Because he don't care about you. No. We like garbage to them. The day of the Lord, the day of fire, the day of Farad. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. So it'll be a year, nothing like it. Once it starts, what starts it? The war in the Middle East that ignites that war. When it's ignited, from that point on, 1 year, bam. That's called the day of the Lord. So there's nothing like it. Farad goes into action. You already see he's moving around. He's becoming more visible. The planes have been more visible. People taking pictures. The government says they're going to release some information on it this summer, in a couple of weeks. See? Farad goes in action. It says Michael and his angels went to war with the dragon and his angels. Then he said this dragon, Michael's angels are the Shia. They're not backing down, but he's going to be leading them. He's their 12th imam. Their Lord. See? It'll be triggered when this war takes place, which is very soon. So a little recap on 666. I explained in detail all the time. The 666 has the image of the beast that was slain by the sword, wherever that the image of the beast represents false Israel. See, so I can go into any details about it and everything. But what it said is the image of the beast that was wounded by a sword. Well, the beast that was wounded by a sword, right? That's Magog. But received breath and life from the beast that was wounded by death, and death was healed. That's China. That means America was wounded by China in World War II, but it was healed. But Britain was wounded by the sword, India, but it was not healed. So they lost empire. They lost India. See? So that's what they're talking about. See? So 666, bottom line 66, is that no one would buy and sell. See? Because who has the power to do that? America. So that's sanctions. See? Who's being sanctioned over there? India, Syria and Iran, Shia. That's all I'm going to say on that. That whole presentation gives all that. I thought that's mentioned. Okay, that's it, brothers and sisters. They're in. Hope you understand. It's a lot to cover. It's a lot of other things I want to talk about. See? But it gets down to very simple. This is clean water. Anybody taste it knows it's clean, free water. Because once you taste it, you ain't going back. The problem is getting our people to taste it. See? They don't want to do a taste test. Do a taste test, they ain't going back to that garbage. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. See? So I point out your enemies to you. Okay. Back 1 second. Just want to check one thing real quick. Make sure you understand. Okay. And they're not your enemy. They don't realize it yet. They're the brothers that's going into the hereafter. They're Father's angels. That's talking about Iran and Syria, the Shia. Okay. So point out who your friends, who your enemies are. You only got 2 friends. That's Suleiman and Farad Muhammad. That's Farad Muhammad. Okay. The Shia, your friends, just don't know it yet. So how much friends you got? Well, you got Elijah. Can't forget him. Elijah, Farad Muhammad, Suleiman. How many friends you got? Okay, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. We're at war. Get your war uniform on. Be prepared. Every time you talk to brothers and sisters, you get that wheel start turning. You don't have to worry about it. Once they start thinking, they'll be right behind you. Okay, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.